Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. I know, you think I'm crazy. I'm standing down here on the beach in the dark because I got to bring you the MB. It's super important. There's been some changes going on, some positive weather changes, number one. And of course, we are monitoring and watching the situation on the bluefin tuna ground south of the border up in San Francisco, where there's been some albacore fishing and so much more. I know, you might think I'm crazy, and you're probably right, but it's time to set up for the MB.
Baja en acción, Capi Beto. Ahí está prendido con su tuna. Pegamos un doblete. Ya trepamos otra. Mario Almada sigue dando. Esta pegó. Dos. Es todo.
September 24th through the 26th, we'll be on board the Apollo, and you are invited for this very special two-day trip. It is limited to only 21 anglers, includes all meals, and should be fantastic. This is when we have our best weather months in the fall, and the Apollo, they've been on their game this year. Outstanding fishing and really nice weather. Then we're going to switch over to the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California for another two-day adventure. October 6th through the 8th should be another great trip. Tanner, Cortez Bank, and anywhere else the fish are. Don't forget, text me at 657-227-6459 to get on board the Apollo and or the Amigo. Best weather months of the year, and hopefully lots of fish for you to catch. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. This lovely Friday morning, I'm here standing in the dark. Some of the residents here are going, who is that crazy guy with a light on him? But I got a really busy day today, and I want to get you the MB really, really early because there's some significant changes in the weather. That bluefin tuna is biting, and is the big fish back with us again? It sure seems like it. Some really good conking going on last night on the big bluefin. Long range remains excellent. A good signal down in Ensenada. Albacore up there in San Francisco, and so much more. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. So good. Early this morning, and it is great to be with you all. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend some time with us, as we deeply appreciate it. If you don't mind, hit that like button, share these videos with a friend. Tick that little bell, and you'll be notified when there's new content. But before you tick the bell, make sure you subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. You can also follow us over there on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. We're there every single day for you all. It is really great to be with you. Hey, excuse me, let me put this, wait a minute. Let me have one more sip. Thank you. All right. One of the problems here is I can't see my notes. So guess what? The marvels of modern technology, a flashlight. I don't know why I didn't think of this a long time ago. All right, I have to first start out by reminding you all that we're doing a used tackle drive for the children on the island of Cedros in Mexico. Those kids, many of them, don't have any fishing tackle at all. And they are susceptible to some of the same things our kids are in danger of getting into, whether it's drugs or it's too much social media or whatever it is. Most of the time it's going to be drugs out there. You know, kids need a diversion. Kids need to be out in the great outdoors. So Diego Nuno, deckhand of the Royal Star, and yours truly, and all of you, so many of you, are making this dream come true. One of those people is Robert Graber, an incredible Friedman Adventures family member. Robert is going to great means to help us organize this tackle and get it into the hands of the kids. And he has been talking to people in the Channel Islands, to receive some of the tackle. We've just got a new one, hook, line, and sinker tackle store in beautiful Santa Barbara. We've got to thank Kai and Bill from Hook, Line, and Sinker. They'll receive your used fishing tackle. Robert's going to pick it up. Man, Robert, I can't thank you enough. Kai and Bill, thank you so much. Visit Hook, Line, and Sinker. Drop off some used tackle. We'll get it down to the kids in Cedros Island. Also participating, Eric's Tackle in Ventura. Also, Ventura Sport Fishing, Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. Big Fish Bait and Tackle, and Young's Fishing Tackle in Bellflower, California. I love it. So many people in this Friedman Adventures family doing such great things. Thank you so very much. All right, we've got a lot to talk about. You saw the lead at Diego Puentes posting that video of some excellent bluefin tuna fishing down there in Ensenada, Baja California. It's been all show and not much go, but every day is different on that offshore bluefin tuna. Some of it on the poppers, a lot of it on the Mad Mac trolled lures. It's been pretty darn good at times. It's been an exceptionally early morning bite. Most of the time, I mean, like, you know, right now kind of a thing. The gray when the sun is just starting to come up. But we see a little bit more consistency out of it. Man, that was a lot of fun watching those guys pull on those bluefin tuna down there in Ensenada. Inshore remains excellent down there around Santo Tomas. There's still a lot of barracuda. They've had a great barracuda year down there in Ensenada. There's calico and sand bass up there closer to downtown Ensenada, maybe a 15-minute run, and you're catching calicos and sand bass. And along that rugged Puna Banda, that's been an outstanding area also to take some bass. There's rockfish, man, out there on the Banda Bank, which is kind of near that bluefin tuna. You can catch some big lings and nice vermilions, great rockfish. So the situation in Ensenada right now is great. And the weather offshore, no problema. It looks really, really nice right now. So good stuff in Ensenada, no question about that. All right, I just want to bounce you down to the island of Cedros to tell you, and down there in that neck of the woods, Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California is having a dream trip down there with a great group of anglers. Tim Marquez is one of those guys. He's our tax guy here on Friedman Adventures. And man, I'll tell you, they're putting the wood to the yellowtail. They've had some halibut. Just great fishing, and the camaraderie with that group, fantastic. So happy to see Tyler, Tanaka, and Tim, and Sam, and everybody that's on that trip having such a great time. That is good stuff. Let's talk long-range fishing. The boats on 7- and 8-day trips out of San Diego have been having fabulous fishing. I mean, really, really good. Yellowfin tuna fishing down there has been awesome. 20 to 70 pound fish, but a lot of 40 to 70 pound yellowfin tuna down there biting for all the boats that have been hitting it, and some decent yellowtail action. Also, we flashed that photo yesterday up and showed you that the Independence had a really good early morning bite on the yellowtail. So some outstanding yellowtail action at yellowfin tuna. You can hardly beat that. The Independence went in on the beach, and they had some outstanding fishing for a mix of fish, like nice big calico bass, and they also had some more yellowtail. They're going to hit some rockfish later on. As they head back up the Baja Coast, the long-range guys have been going in and experiencing some great fishing, and at times some wide-open white sea bass fishing. Really great stuff. The long-range scene, outstanding right now. All right, let's take you out to Tanner and Cortez Bank and talk about the weather. It's pretty nice out there this morning. I talked to a couple of the boys before I came on here, and the weather's not that bad. In fact, it looks like Saturday and Sunday are both going to be very, very good days, fishable days for sure. In fact, pretty darn nice on the weather. It looks like if the forecast holds, that weather's going to come up on Monday afternoon now, and then it's going to stay windy for a few days. Well, once again, this just got downgraded. Things change. It's fluid. Stay tuned here on the morning briefing and all the other updates we do on Friedman Adventures to keep you in touch with the very latest. I like what's going on. Don Brockman was on board the Thunderbird, and they had a great trip, limiting out on the bluefin tuna and having so much fun. I mean, that was a fun group of guys out there with Jeff Markland out there, you know, kind of toughing it out with the weather, because the weather's been up out there, and it's been just a royal pain in the you-know-what. But the fish are biting. Last night, there was some really good fishing going on the bigger great fish. If I had to kind of just give you an overall picture of what's going on. During the daytime, fly line fishing, 25 to 40 pound bluefin tuna. There's exceptions. You might get a bigger one, you might get a smaller one, but that's the rule. And then at night, you get a chance at some really big fish. I just talked to the amigo a second ago. Limits of bluefin tuna out of 22nd Street Landing, and they got some big ones last night. Nice hit for the amigo again, as they have been red hot out of 22nd Street Landing. 2 spots available on our October 6th trip. You better grab them while you can. Gorgeous sunrise. It's just starting to come up right now, so some really beautiful stuff. Now, Vern Ballas is out on the Vagabond. Vern's a great Friedman Adventures family member, and Vern said, Phil, we're pretty west of San Clemente Island. We started catching some really big bluefin tuna. In fact, Vern said, I think we have 20 fish over 100 pounds, right on up to 240 pounds. At least that's what one of those BFTs was estimated to weigh. Vern said, thank the Lord for a wonderful trip for me, as I got 2 fish on the knife jigs and 2 fly line fish, limiting Vern out for this exceptional trip on the Vagabond, the big fish at night, and then the smaller grade bluefin tuna, but still beautiful fish in the daytime. Vern described it as a plunker bite. So what is a plunker bite, in case you don't know? A plunker bite is when you have 1 or 2 fish going, maybe 3, maybe even 4 fish going, then you go dry, nothing for 10, 15 minutes, and then you hook a fish. It's that kind of a bite where not everybody on board is bit. It's not wide open, and that means you have got to take your time and choose a good hot bait. You might have to drop down to 25-pound fluorocarbon instead of 30 to 40-pound fluorocarbon. And, you know, it varies on how you're going to keep your bait in the water. Are you going to long soak it? Vern said that's what worked for me. A long soak bait, leaving it out there for quite some time. Other times you're changing your bait regularly. Observational skills. What's everybody getting bit around me doing? Observational skills are so very important, so keep that in mind. Pacific Dawn limits the bluefin tuna to 170 pounds. I don't care that the weather's been up. These fish are biting, and it's been darn good. The Islander with a huge trip. And on board the Legend, a 3-day trip to remember for a long time to come. The Legend put the wood to the fish, limiting out on bluefin tuna. Several big fish. A lot of that daytime fish. Really excellent fishing. Even in the crappy weather, that fish is biting. And man, guys on board the Legend that I talked to are walking on cloud 9. They had such an exceptional trip. Condor with 32 fish on board, bluefin. 17 in the 100 to 120 pound, or pardon me, to the 220 pound class. What's wrong with my flashlight here? Really great fishing. Big fish are back in the picture again. Weather's coming down for the weekend. It's not going to be flat calm. It's not going to be no wind at all, but it's going to be pretty darn nice until Monday afternoon now, and then we'll see if that manifests itself or not. So some really great fishing going on, my friends. You can't beat the bite out of San Diego. And when I say out of San Diego, I really should be saying, you know, because we just talked about the Amigo. He's out of 22nd Street Landing. Most of the landings in Southern California, it's a 90 to 100 mile run out to Tanner and Cortez Bank, and that's where you're going to be fishing. And also west of Clemente, out there kind of, you know, between Catalina and Clemente, out there almost toward Nicholas, San Nicolas Island sometimes. So really great stuff going on. Daytime, fly line, nighttime, heavier jigs, especially in this weather, like 500-gram jigs, but excellent fishing. We thank everybody who contributed, like Vern and everybody else who's been feeding us such great info about the bite. All right, let's talk about the islands, and we'll go to the Coronado Islands first of all. That's up and down on the yellowtail right now. You know, one day they bite, one day they don't bite. Previous to this, it was so consistent with big numbers of forkage, but it's still pretty good. The Grande had 26 yellowtail yesterday. Nothing wrong with that kind of a score. Again, a lot of fly line fish, some surface ironfish, even some yo-yo ironfish. And there's barracuda and calico bass and rockfish in there also. Some of the boats commit to just fishing the yellowtail, and that's why you don't see the bycatch, but other boats say, all right, let's go mess around with this other stuff for a little bit. We'll get back to the forkies in a little while. So some pretty darn good fishing at the Coronado Islands. but inconsistent. One day they bite, one day they don't. Offshore for the full day boats, it's worth mentioning that the San Diego came up with no fish, but man, I got to tell you, they put in a 100-mile journey looking for fish offshore on the full day trip. Boats will leave in the morning, come back that very evening. Man, my hat's off to the guys on the San Diego. They are such a great crew out of Seaforth. They're out there working to find fish, and who knows, maybe they'll get on that fish. I know that Ensenada fish outside the Bonda Bank, it's a little bit far for that kind of a trip, but there's a little bit of fish, and you know, come Monday or so, some of the boys might be down that way taking a look at that fish, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Out there at San Clemente Island, again, most guys are fishing the bluefin, but the guys that are fishing the island are picking off an occasional white sea bass in those squid zones. Dropper loop fishing for yellowtail, not as prolific as it once was, but there's a few there. And then during the daytime, you can pick off some really good calico bass fishing and fly line sardine. You catch more yellowtail. Out there at Catalina Island, we continue to see pretty good bass fishing. A Friedman Adventures family member is Cliff Hughes, who was on the Native Son out of 22nd Street Landing yesterday. By the way, Cliff said, what a crew, what a boat. These guys went to lengths, just really making our trip so exceptional. So it was a little breezy over there, and they picked at the calico bass with an acceptable amount of keeper fish. Kind of the same situation that we've been describing to you, with a little bit of everything. Some barracuda, some bonito, a little bit of calico bass, whitefish, sheephead, that kind of a thing. So Cliff, thanks for the great report, man. I can't wait to see you on board the Apollo in a couple of weeks. That's going to be a lot of fun, no question about that. The Pursuit has also been over there at Catalina Island. Seen quite a bit of yellowtail out of 22nd Street Landing, picking off a fish or two from day to day, but similar kind of score. Same thing on the El Patron out of Long Beach Sport Fishing. They've had some okay calico bass fishing. Same thing on the Sport King, on the Gale Force, on the Triton. Guys that have been over there experiencing that same kind of fish. A lot of different species, picking at all of them, nothing wide open. If you want to go to Catalina Island, the El Patron awaits you at Long Beach Sport Fishing. All you have to do is go to www.longbeachsportfishing.org, or you can give the landing a call to get on the El Patron. I know you'll have a really good time. Tax problems, Tim Marquez, who's down at Cedros right now, wailing on the yellowtail, is your man. 35 years of experience and heating and or air conditioning needs. It's John Lopez from Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. Sam De La Torre called him at Island Fishing Tackle. John was out the next day, took care of everything. Great sponsors. Thank you so much for visiting our sponsors and patronizing them. That means the world to all of us. Moving you up to Santa Barbara Island. There's some big yellows there for boats that have been fishing at the Pescador out of Redondo Sport Fishing with Tom Durr, who's an exceptional captain, and he's 147 years old today. So Tom really knows his stuff. There's some big yellows, good barracuda, wide open whitefish up there at San Nicolas Island. Great rock fishing. Channel Islands, we're waiting for another white sea bass explosion on the Endeavor. That's pretty much contingent on them making some squid, which has been hard to come by. In the meantime, it's been great rock fishing up there in that area, and also plenty of chances at some calico bass if you focus on that, and some barracuda. Sometimes that just doesn't pan out, but there's pretty good considerable amount. There's occasional yellowtail over there on the Aloha Spirit, and occasional local white sea bass also. And then you fall back on plenty of rockfish. Nothing wrong with that, my friends. Also, as we continue to look at Burgess in Morro Bay and Avila Beach, there's great rock fishing going on up there for the boys. Excellent fishing going on. And up there in San Francisco, there's some halibut being taken. There's great lingcod fishing, and raptor sport fishing left the albacore biting. Full speed albie bite for a raptor sport fishing, and several other boats, private boaters in on it also out of San Francisco. It has been really fantastic. Really great fishing going on. Good to see that albacore. We've had it down as far as Half Moon Bay, and we're thinking that Morro Bay might get a shot in on that albacore by the end of the year. So we'll watch that for you very, very closely and see what happens from here. Some excellent signal and sign up there. All right, let's take a look at our local fishing, and our local fishing down there in San Diego. A little bit more hit and miss right now, but still pretty good overall. Some sand bass and calico bass, occasional yellowtail white sea bass, and good bonito fishing going on down there up there around Oceanside. Catch and release a lot of calico bass, some rockfish up there at Dana Wharf sport fishing. They caught and released several hundred sand bass here yesterday, and also had the same kind of a thing going on with the calico bass. And there's some rockfish, occasional halibut up there in this neck of the woods. And I'm talking now about San Pedro and Long Beach. We are seeing some pretty good sculpin and whitefish, and occasional bass bite, occasional barracuda, but very occasional. No consistency to that at all. Marina del Rey, we've continued to see some really excellent fishing with regard to nighttime bass fishing. Twilight fishing on the new Del Mar's been awesome. Should be good tonight. Going to have nice weather. And then up there in the Channel Islands, we've kind of covered that for you already. Now, in the surf, in the Southern California surf, we've got to take it to Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California, on the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. They're giving away a free custom surf fishing rod every single month. All you have to do is walk in there, buy their ruler, and they'll give you all the details. You know, I want to tell you a little story here, and I hope I don't screw this up entirely, but a guy by the name of Glenn Kerr is friends with Jeff Wade. Jeff has the Facebook page, West Coast Surf Fishing. Great, awesome resource for surf fishing anglers. Anyway, to get back to the story that I will inevitably screw up, Glenn says that he's been friends with Jeff for many, many years, and he's been saying, you know, enough of that surf fishing nonsense. Come on, go long range fishing with me. And Jeff's like, yeah, you do your long range thing. Go ahead, have fun. I'm going to continue fishing in the surf. Well, Jeff said, what the heck? He signed up for a Red Rooster 3 trip that they have going on board the Red Rooster 3, obviously. And Glenn said, all right, I'll go surf fishing. So Glenn went surf fishing, and it was really, really good. And all of a sudden, Glenn goes, wow. After all these years of living here, I never knew how much fun this is. And he says he's totally hooked now. Totally hooked. And I think that could be your experience also. Fishing the surf is so much fun. You can work it around a work day on some days. So you can come out here for an hour or two and feel the beauty of the Eastern Pacific and catch a fish or two. So that is something you can enjoy, and that's a cool little story. Some pretty good corvina fishing down there on Bolsa Chica, Huntington, and some yellowfin croaker. A little bit more spot fin croaker starting to show up now on the beaches also. So that is really, really good stuff as I grab my coffee cup. Also, we continue to see an occasional halibut. The Big Fish Bait and Tackle for the biggest fish, the custom rod this month, is for the largest surf fishing caught halibut. So that's a fun derby, fun tournament for this month. Next month, it'll be a new species, but that's good stuff. Up in the Santa Monica Bay, pretty good corvina fishing going on up there also. So we'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely also as things head in the right direction. All right, my friends, what can I tell you? The crazy man is finished screaming down here in the beach, lights going on all the houses, wondering what it is that is going on. Is it a tsunami warning or something else? Some idiot is down there making a whole bunch of racket here at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and I'll have to do this more often. I can knock these things out early and get them up earlier for you to keep you in touch with all the very latest. Great fishing offshore right now. I don't know how it can get any better. Well, I know how it can. The weather could come down. It's going to do that now. Nice weekend ahead out there on the bank. Vastly improved weather, it looks like, to yours truly. So that's great news. Be tackled up for some big ones because they're biting again. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon.